we want to emphasize the role of the individual, the entrepreneur themselves. And what do we as a corporation do to attract them, to retain them, and to support them in the pursuit of their entrepreneurial ideas and activities within the organization? So when we look at the opportunity analysis canvas, it's a comprehensive perspective on how to build a variety of different skills for thinking and seeing and acting entrepreneurially. But you need the individuals there to make it happen and to bring these ideas into practice. And a key question for many entrepreneurs and innovators within organizations is, why stay? Corporate entrepreneurs tend to be innovators, tend to be perhaps mavericks that want to take their ideas and run with them. And if they can't run with them efficiently and effectively within the organization, they may run with those ideas outside of the organization. They may go on to form their own companies. And it's not unprecedented that groups of employees may leave together to form their own companies. And in some cases, even to compete against the individual organization that they left. One of the hallmark examples of this is Adobe Systems. So the founders of Adobe, John and Charles, had the idea for Adobe with the employer that they were with at that time. The employer was not particularly interested in their ideas, and they left. And they started Adobe that has annual revenues today of over $5 billion and a market cap or a company value of over $50 billion. A $50 billion opportunity lost by a couple of guys that had an idea that wasn't supported by their organization. What we find is that most companies, most large companies, could do better in managing their innovation talent. What we find is that there are tremendous opportunities for intrapreneurs, tremendous opportunities for individuals within organizations that want to be entrepreneurial to bring new products to market. There are technical opportunities. There might be a technical team or technical staff that can help bring their ideas into action. There are marketing opportunities of a brand that they can work within, of a marketing team or marketing talent, or money to hire marketing agencies to work with to bring their ideas into action. There are financial systems in play to support them and encourage the development and the realization of their ideas, and other related support systems that most startups are not able to compete with. But what we also find is that many of these innovators and many of these entrepreneurs may not want to be general managers. They may not want to move up the ladder in the corporation if up that ladder brings responsibilities that they may not be interested in. They may not be interested in doing 10 performance reviews every quarter. They may not be interested in spending most of their days in meetings. They might not be interested in spending most of their days on Excel and PowerPoint if that's what they perceive managers to do within their organization. They may want to build. They may want to create. They may want to innovate instead. So a big equation is, what do these innovators want? What are the various factors and forms and inputs and outputs that these innovators and these corporate entrepreneurs want? So we want to recognize that while this is not universal, many of them simply want to create and innovate. They're not necessarily aspiring to senior management positions in a typical sense. And many organizations are beginning to recognize that there's more than one path of success. You see a number of organizations, a number of large companies, this is Halliburton is one example, but there are other large companies, consulting companies, tech companies, that are giving multiple ladders, if you will, to progress within the organization. It may come with bigger titles, it may come with bigger paychecks, it may come with bigger bonuses, but it doesn't come within the traditional title, which was the management track, where you move from being a technical person to a manager, to a principal or a partner or a director or a VP or whatever the lingo may be within that organization. That a separate parallel technical track was developed and this is something that's been in practice for a decade or two, where they realized that people with high technical acumen and technical capability deserve bigger salaries, deserved bigger titles, deserved more recognition, but deserved it perhaps in a different context that was more interesting or more attractive for them. So instead of being a manager, they became an advisor. Instead of becoming a principal, they became a senior advisor. Instead of becoming a partner or a director or a VP, they become a chief advisor or a chief technical advisor or a chief scientist. So in that way, there were multiple tracks that were presented that differentiated an avenue to success within the organization of people that were technically motivated versus those that were managerially motivated. I would argue perhaps there's a third track of something that is along the lines of being a corporate innovator or an intrapreneur. And those tracks might be down the path of having innovators or senior innovators or chief innovators or other derivatives of these titles that enables the organization to have people that can add value, that can look at new products and look at new markets and look at new technologies and bring new things to bear. But they may do it in a different way than the traditional hierarchical structure of the organization is established. This is one example of some things that might be able to be done within an organization to add new paths and new structures, and to really answer this question of how to add new rewards. With 3M, we've talked about them a little bit, but what they do is they add some title, they add some money, they add some recognition and rewards, and those are all good things. There may be non-monetary things that can also be put in play to recognize and motivate your entrepreneurs within the organization. It might be some element of title or status or awards or recognition or ceremonies. So a variety of tools that can be assistive, both monetary and non-monetary, of rewarding and recognizing entrepreneurship. And it all comes to answering this question of why stay. What's there within the organization beyond maybe a steady paycheck of inspiring entrepreneurship, of rewarding entrepreneurship, of appealing to the interest of these people that are doing things that are a bit higher risk, that hopefully are higher reward, but making sure that it's not only higher reward for the organization, but higher reward for that entrepreneur and that innovator themselves.